Hey guys, welcome back to the Piston Show. I'm Kashi Dillon, and it's going to be a rainy, stormy day, but it's going to be an interesting day as well because today I'm driving the new facelifted Porsche Taycan. We're driving the base Taycan as well as the Taycan 4S. It's going to be interesting. Anyway, the upgrades to the new Taycan include minor tweaks to the exterior. But most of the updates are underneath the car. Better thermal management, better range, more power, and an updated interior. Well, slightly. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything that you need to know about the new Taycan, how it drives, because today I'm going to be driving it to the Mangala Resort in Kuantan, and then tomorrow driving it to Genting, and then back here to KL. I'm in Glenmary right now, and this is where my drive is going to end tomorrow. So this is how it looks like, and one of the key updates over here that you can look out for, well, this is how you distinguish the new Taycan over the old one, is that it doesn't have that teardrop, the black teardrop that the previous generation model used to have. So some other updates, well, I'll show you as we go along with this video, but as usual guys, a quick acknowledgement of our sponsor for 60 seconds. After that, I'm going to give you a quick refresher about what's new with the updated Taycan. Then I'm going to bring you the driving impressions and ultimately and finally how it feels together with whether it's worth the price tag or not, because one of the key competitors for BMW Auto Performance, the importer and distributor of all Porsche cars in Malaysia, is the parallel import market. There are a lot of benefits of buying a brand new Porsche, and I'll tell you that later. For now though, I'll be back in 60 seconds. This video is brought to you by Berjaya Sompo Insurance. Get Sompo MotoSafe by Berjaya Sompo. The less you drive, the less you pay. It's that simple. Choose from 3 different mileage plans with affordable premiums to fit your driving needs. Perfect for those who drive occasionally. Plus, enjoy extra perks like unlimited towing, 100% special perils, and all driver coverages. Ready to drive smart and save big? Switch to Sompo MotoSafe today. Head over to Berjaya Sompo Insurance and start saving now. From a design perspective, the new Porsche Taycan is almost unchanged. It will take some very keen eyes to actually tell the difference between the current generation model and the previous generation model. But just for the sake of this video, I'll point them out to you. The front bumper, for example, has been refined, and this part over here is probably the one part that has been updated extensively. In the previous generation model, you used to have a near teardrop like design for the front headlight, whereas now it looks smarter. If you ask me, I kind of like the way the current generation model looks. And then you still get this very cool charge port that opens and closes automatically just by swiping your finger underneath here. And the cool thing about the Porsche Taycan is that that charge port is available on either sides. And moving towards the back too has been revised. Well, not so much revised, but rather refined. So Porsche doesn't do extensive facelifts. They do very progressive facelifts. They call it an evolution of their design. Hence why you don't see a very drastic upgrade as far as the design is concerned. As I was saying, it'll take some very keen eyes to actually tell the difference between the new and the old. But once you start exploring the car, you'll see that it actually looks slightly better. For me, much better than the previous generation model. From the inside of the car, well, it's still same old, same old. The updates are very, well, minimal, I would say. The software, for one, has been revised, quicker, faster, and basically refined, as I said. And there are a couple of things that, about this Taycan that I quite like. I like the multiple screen. I like how ergonomically designed it is. And if you're wondering what this thing is over here, well, this is another screen, but the reason why you cannot see it from here is because it has a privacy screen. Your passenger can watch videos, but you as a driver cannot. Now, the other thing that I've not really been a fan of as far as the Taycan is concerned is that I do not get a lot of leg space. The leg well or the footwell over here can be rather tight. So from the center console to the door panel, you don't get a lot of space. So if you're on the taller side, well, this might be an issue. But besides that, the one thing that irks me the most are the air conditioning vents. So for me, this is unnecessarily complicated. So I cannot adjust the air conditioning vents with my fingers. That would be perfect. But now to do that, I have to first press on the menu button, and then this is how I adjust the air conditioning vents on the Porsche Taycan. This has always been like that, and for me, it's unnecessarily complicated. Besides that, you get wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, a Bose sound system, and almost everything about the interior of the Taycan can be customized. In fact, this entertainment screen over here that I was telling you about, optional. You can actually pay for it. So if you don't want it, you don't have to pay for it. That's what I was trying to say. So anyway, as far as comfort goes, well, I'm about 6 feet, so I do find it to be a little bit tight. But the back seats, I have to tell you about the back seats. So let's go behind. Having driven here from KL to Kuantan, in fact, I didn't do a lot of driving today. I'm about to drive this car after this, in fact. So I spent a lot of time here in the back seat, and I just don't like it. I'll just be upfront about it. I just don't like it. It's very tight. It's very upright. The sitting position is too upright, and I'm sitting rather low, so I don't have enough of thigh support. I don't want to spend a lot of time back here. I'm not saying it's uncomfortable. If I was shorter, smaller framed, then fine. I wish there was a bit more angle to the backrest though, because I'm nearly at 90 degrees. Not ideal if you ask me. So, and there's not a lot of leg space as well. Look, I can't even put my entire foot under the front seat. So if you're thinking about the Taycan as a family car, if you got adult children or teenage children, probably not. But any younger, then yeah, full force to you. You get ISOFIX mounts, so that will work brilliantly as well for younger kids. And the other thing about the back seats of the Taycan, just like the front, this is how you adjust your air conditioning controls, and this are your blower settings. So if you want cool air to be blown to your face, this is how you do it. Not ideal. So unnecessarily complicated if you ask me. I think there's some things in the automotive world that probably do not need to be over-engineered. But my eye just caught something. This is a very nice interior as far as design is concerned. So from this angle, it's just such a nice looking car. The interior, of course. But once you start exploring it and you start spending time in the Taycan, especially over long distances as we did today, yeah. A friend of mine, Eugene from Autobus, spent over 24 hours driving the Taycan from Bangkok all the way to Singapore. Eugene, bro, you have my respect. Having spent time with the base Taycan today, I'm about to go jump in the driver's seat and take it for a drive. Tomorrow, I'm going to be driving the Taycan 4S. I don't expect it to be that much different. It just has dual motors, where else this has a single motor. But let's just take a moment to appreciate this. And yes, it does have quite a spacious boot. I think perhaps one golf bag. And if you're interested to know, check this out. This is the body colored key. You also get a frunk. Not bad. Quite a deep frunk. Quite nice. As mentioned, Most of the updates are centered around the powertrain of the car. The new Taycan is 15 kgs lighter than before, a result of a new inverter, a new motor, and a new heat pump. The regenerative braking is also 30% more powerful than before, and this allows for greater speed retardation without using the brakes. The batteries too are bigger than before, with the capacity increasing from 93 kWh to 105 kWh with the optional Performance Battery Plus. The base Taycan has a single motor, making it a rear-wheel drive car. The base model is said to be able to travel up to 678 kilometers on a single charge, an increase of 35% over the older model. As for performance, the Taycan makes 408 PS, which is now available all the time, rather than during launch control only as before. The Taycan accelerates from 0 to 100 km per hour in 4.8 seconds. As for charging, the DC charging speed has increased from 270 kilowatts to 320 kilowatts. This has improved charging time to just 18 minutes, if you're charging from 10 to 80% for the optional Performance Battery Plus. The new Taycan can also accept 400 volts, charging at up to 150 kilowatts, and that will take 35 minutes to charge. The 22 kilowatt AC charger is optional, so if you don't want to fork out additional money for that, you will have to make do with the 11 kilowatt AC charging capability. Other updates include standard air suspension instead of the standard steel springs, and the new optional is the Porsche Active Ride Roll Stabilization. This makes the car lean into a corner like a motorcycle instead of away from it, and lifts the car by 55 millimeters when the doors are open to make it easier to get in or get out of the car. Starting off with the base Porsche Taycan, well, simply put, it feels very familiar. Current generation Taycan owners will come in here and perhaps find themselves in a very familiar environment. That is, until they start driving the car. So you see, one of the major updates to the new Porsche Taycan is obviously the performance of the car, the range of the car, and more importantly, it's the suspension of the car. It has a more refined suspension and it feels more comfortable. It soaks up all the dips and the ruts and the bumps and everything that the road throws at it brilliantly. And that is, I guess, a major improvement over the previous generation model. And you truly do feel it. However, you will only feel it if you drive the older model and the current model back to back. If you're just going to get in here and you've never driven the previous generation Taycan, then you might be left, well, sort of wondering what's new. Because this is, after all, something that I like to call a minor facelift. Now, Porsche doesn't do major facelifts. You got to understand that about Porsche. With Porsches, it's always an evolution of their cars. So their cars are slowly evolving, slowly perfected. And a lot of their performances and upgrades are available as an option. But some of the most standard things that you get in this car is a lighter battery, resulting in an overall weight that is 15 kgs lighter. But more importantly here though, is the fact that the car is more comfortable. In terms of performance, you can't really argue with a 4.8 second 0 to 100 acceleration time. It's just, yeah, you need a very strong neck if you're going to be driving a Porsche Taycan. Even the base Taycan does the sprint to 100 kilometers per hour in under 5 seconds. And what I like about it is, obviously, it's comfortable. There are things that I perhaps am not a very big fan of, such as the fact that at highway speeds at about between 110 to 140 kilometers per hour and above, actually, it can tend to get a little bit noisy. The tire roar can be quite overwhelming, particularly from the back. And then the wind noise coming from this A-pillars and as well, curiously, from the back as well, is quite obvious. But besides that, it's a very comfortable car. And after all, it's a Porsche. So every time people look at it, they're going to be like, wow. And this, the latest Taycan, is truly wow. Now though, we're going to go jump into the Taycan 4S and see how that is like. Now, I have to say this, that while we were driving the base, this is the base Taycan, while we were driving this from KL to here in Kuantan, well, it was torrential rain all the way, torrential rain. And there were some moments, some aquaplaning, very minor aquaplaning here and there. But I also got to say that we weren't exactly driving slow. So in situations like that, the Taycan 4S would probably feel better, simply because with all four wheels spinning, you're getting more grip. Now, I'm quite excited to jump into the Taycan 4S. Now let's talk about that for a little while, shall we? As for the Porsche Taycan 4S, from the outside, the 4S looks the same as the base Taycan. Of course, you can spec your Taycan 4S however you want, so the exterior design will always vary from car to car. The interior too is largely the same, with both cars having 3 digital displays. The real update though is underneath the car. As with all new Taycans, the Taycan 4S used to produce 530 PS, but it now offers 544 PS. But this can go up to 598 PS with the Performance Battery Plus, which used to offer 571 PS previously. The acceleration to 100 km per hour is done in just 3.7 seconds, which is 3/10 faster than before, while range jumps from 510 km to 643 km, which is quite significant. Now we get on with the final review of the Taycan 4S. So in the Taycan 4S today, and it costs an entire 100,000 ringgit more than the base Taycan that we drove yesterday. So what do you get for this kind of money? An additional electric motor, more power, and there's a sacrifice in the form of lower range. Well, the additional electric motor gives you about 544 PS on tap, but if you choose to go for the Performance Battery Plus, it takes that power up to an astonishing 598 Newton meters. 598 PS. 0 to 100 seen off in 3.7 seconds. And that is just some ridiculous performance. Considering that all that performance is available at just 675,000 ringgit, it kind of makes you think, is there still a place for internal combustion engines that make about 700 horsepower, 800 horsepower, yet cost maybe 5 times more? Well, that's an entirely different conversation altogether. But what the Taycan 4S does give you is plenty of grip. So we are in some really fun roads right now, in the back roads of Gambang, and we are heading towards Genting Highlands today. And it's just so much of grip to rely on. As I was telling you, during our drive yesterday, there were moments of, scary moments where, the regular Taycan, the base Taycan tended to aquaplane and such. So that's the thing that you would not expect in the Taycan 4S. It works sort of like an all-wheel drive powertrain. So all 4 wheels are spinning, and hence you can rely on it to sort of pull you out of some scary situations. Now, at 675,000 ringgit, this is basically just the base price. The thing about Porsches, as with the base Taycan, everything in here is customizable. There's one button over here that we didn't get in the base Taycan yesterday, and that's the push to pass button over here on the steering wheel. This is a paid option, so whichever Porsche that you go for, you can sort of have this button in your Porsche as well. I'm not quite sure how much it costs, but as with everything in here, you can have it almost everywhere, any way that you like, down to the last stitch of the interior. On the topic of the Taycan 4S, you get roughly about a 580 kilometer range. Now this is up significantly because the previous generation model did about 510. And whether you want performance or whether you want range, because the base Taycan gives you about 680, that's roughly about 100 kilometers more for 100,000 ringgit less. But when it comes to customization and options, the depth of your pocket is your only limitation. If it was me though, judging from how much fun the Taycan 4S is, this would probably be it. And you really can't argue against a 3.7 second acceleration time. So I'm just going to enjoy the drive, and I'll tell you more about this car in a bit. So with regards to the Taycan 4S as compared to the base Taycan, everything is the same. It even looks identical in the sedan form. Of course, if you go for the Cross, the Taycan Cross, that is actually a really good looking car. So, but with regards to the regular sedan, well guys, everything is customizable, everything is the same, even the interior is the same. The only thing between the Taycan and the Taycan 4S is the additional battery. Which one do I like? I'm a sucker for power, so yes, I like power. That Taycan though, the Sport, the Cross Turismo, this is just something else. So it's been an incredible 2 days of driving the Porsche Taycan as well as the Porsche Taycan 4S. And as previously, they're still very capable machines. Improved, evolved, and simply better in every aspect. They're still very much Porsches, and when the roads allow them to, you can really have some fun. Now, the Taycan 4S is my pick between the two simply because of the amount of grip and the performance that it has to offer. But that doesn't mean that the base Taycan is a slouch. You cannot argue against that sub 5 second acceleration figure and some incredible range through that improved battery pack. So these are things that have always made the Porsche Taycan a favorite among EV fans. And now it's just simply a lot better than previously. It may not look like it, and as I said in this video, it'll take a very keen eye to actually distinguish the new Porsche Taycan from the older model. But hey, if you can afford it, then the Taycan should be your pick of the among the EVs of this price range. Look out for the interior, and if you've got a family of 4 to carry around, those back seats can be a little bit uncomfortable, particularly over long distances. But if it's just you and a loved one, or maybe one more person, and you're looking for a fun EV and you have some money to spend, Taycan 4S. Always Taycan 4S, unless you can afford the turbo. I haven't driven the turbo, so look out for the review when I do actually drive that car. But between the Taycan and the Taycan 4S, definitely Taycan 4S. Thank you for watching, guys. Do consider subscribing.